This Army Hammer dude, you know him, we've had him on the show before, ages ago for a movie or something.
Lone
then
Ranger.
Jackie thought he was fabulous. He thought he was, very hot. Oh, what a charmer. Yeah, you can understand. Good-looking bloke, movie star, all that sort of stuff. Well, then all these articles started to come out saying that he had a bit of a weird fetish where he likes cutting and or suggesting to eat
Cannibalism.
people's ribs.
Let's just say it. It's cannibalism. But
a few
his
exes
lawyer
have come out as well.
His lawyer's come out and said this is all, crazy and not true. But a lot of exes have come out now and we've seen screenshots of conversations. It's all quite confronting, a lot of the things we've been reading. And one of his exes, Paige Lorenz, joins us now on Zoom. Hi, Paige.
Good morning, Paige. How are you?
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
This happened to you. You guys only dated for 2 months, but in that 2 months, you managed to see this weird behaviour.
So it was a little bit longer than that. So we actually first connected January 2019 over Instagram, and he was doing a play in New York. I was living in New York, and he had followed me. And then I moved to LA in September, and we kind of got in touch. And so, we were basically dating from literally when I showed up to LA to the time when I left, which was December.
And when did all the weirdness start? When did you think, okay, I'm a bit, you're a gorgeous young woman. People have got their own little flavour of, what they like in the bedroom.
Things.
But when did you think, this is a bit whack? It's a little bit more than what I've expected.
Well, so kind of like you said, our first time we hung out, he was extremely charming, just like lit up the room, was just handsome, funny, and great. And it was great. And then he started the first night, actually, it was weird, but it wasn't like weird, like, oh, this is alarming. It was just like, oh, this is different.
Right.
It was always just different. Cause it was, just always a little bit kinkier, a little bit weirder. I mean, over time. But the first time I met him, he said to me, "You can either call me daddy or sir."
Sir? Wow.
Which one did you choose, daddy or sir?
I went with sir. Daddy was just like a little bit too close. A little bit weird. But I know that people are. That's something I had heard before, right?
But
like,
hang on. When you call him sir, do you have to just call him sir? Like, do you want a drink, sir, or do you have to say yes, sir, no, sir? What was the requirement?
So it was in the bedroom setting.
Oh, I see.
But he was very he said, "You can either call me sir or daddy." And so that came as a huge shock to me because I had never been in this type of relationship before. But I was down for the adventure, I was like, oh, this could be fun. This could be different.
Yeah.
Like he made me feel like, I mean, I've said this in some interviews, but like he complimented me in ways that I had never been complimented. He put me up, like made me feel like I could do anything, which is kind of part of the manipulation and part of like what a lot of girls,
have said.
That's why it's hard to come out. Yeah, and that's why it's also hard to come out because it's like this very strange feeling. And, and that's another reason why I've wanted to come out and like make this vocal is because I think that there are a lot of young girls could be put in this situation. I mean, it's not always going to be like an Army Hammer, but like I think that a lot of women can like kind of agree that like we've kind of like said yes to things or like not even said yes or not said no, I guess, to things that like we just, we don't actually want to do, things we don't actually want to do.
When did you ever get the I want to eat you conversation? Like, what did that ever happen with you? Yes. Okay,
not eat you in the good way, eat you in the bad way.
Exactly. Yeah. So he in non-sexual settings, he asked me on multiple occasions to remove my ribs. He wanted to find a doctor in LA to like remove the ribs that I don't need. He said, and he wanted to he has like a smoker at his house in LA, and he wanted to like smoke it and like eat it.
And that was a serious conversation.
How does that get brought? Are you guys just sitting around watching Modern Family, and he's like, "I wouldn't mind if you'd just take a rib out and I could eat it." How does that get brought up?
Yes, I know. It seems like how could this, and how were you not like running for the hills?
I know.
And the way that he said it, it was like, I'm also like, I kind of have dark humor sometimes. Like I could think some stuff's funny. I'm like, oh, it's kind of weird. And I kind of joked with him. I was like, oh, what, do you want to make it into a necklace? Like I was joking. Like thought that he was not being serious. Like there's no way that this guy's being serious. But he asked me like 5 times. So like over time, like obviously became like more of a serious thing. But he like really like he would always say like I really want to like I wonder what it tastes like. I bet it tastes good, like stuff like that.
He's really into ribs, isn't he? Like he
so-
likes the idea of a rib on a barbecue. But did you?
Yes.
I've always found ribs mainly
I mean,
bone,
I've
not
been
a lot of
eating
meat.
ribs lately, and I love ribs, but that's not from
No,
human
do you want to hear
beings.
something really bad?
Yes.
My mom the other night served us dinner, and bless her heart, she served ribs, and everyone just looks at each other, and we're like, "Are you kidding, Mom?" We're like, "Mom,
And she's like, "What?
is too soon." Yeah, and everyone's just like, "Too soon, Mom."
Now, did he
Oh,
have a
bless her.
doctor in mind that would actually do that and remove the ribs you didn't need?
Well, so they have these things in LA called concierge doctors, where basically you could call someone up and they'll give you whatever you want in a way.
Yeah.
And just it's for people who, you know, a lot of musicians, actors have them. So he did have like he has a doctor that he was thinking about asking, but he was going to do some research into that.
And what would
And
your
I always
answer
just
be?
I always just brushed it off. I was like, "Oh, ha, ha, weird," and then moved on. Like I just
Yeah, you thought, I'm
honestly,
banging
like-
a movie star. He's a bit weird, whatever.
Yeah, he's
it's
not-
not a real thing.
But when it's
Well,
five
also, like-
times,
Yeah, I mean, over time he got weirder and weirder, and I ended things with him ultimately because I told him that it was like unsafe, and I felt like sick to my stomach about how weird I thought he was.
Wow.
Like it became more like unbearable. But in the beginning, I was just trying to go along with it because I did like him, and I felt like he made me feel so confident and made me feel so good. And
You can
I mean,
do
like,
anything, including removing your ribs. So it's one of those.
Yeah,
What happened? Now, I've seen the photo where he carved an A for his name into your
Yes.
in your thigh somewhere. How did that?
Yeah, like-
did he ask permission for that, or was it just sort of mucking around with a bit of knife play? What happened there? How'd that happen?
So he had these nights that he planned called high protocol nights, which I didn't know of, but those are a thing in the BDSM non-formative like S&M community, where basically you go at a certain time, you have to be wearing a certain thing. There's like a plan for the night, and he rules the whole thing. Like it's a very I didn't know anything about it, but like this is a thing. And it was one of these nights he had tied me up, and I just went along with everything because I just wanted to please him, and that's like a big part of this. Is like I would just sit back and let this stuff happen.
Like this is like the normal tied up bedroom stuff, or
yeah,
are
which
you,
parts did it
Yeah.
get?
are you
like,
tied up like a hog, or like just like on the bed, or
Like it's like called shibari, like it's a Japanese style bondage,
seen it,
and
yes.
like
yeah.
yeah, and I was just open to trying new things, and because I'm like. I don't know. I'm a pretty like liberal sexual person. I don't knock it until you try it. So I was like, oh, I could try this like world, but I never thought that it would involve like obviously branding, him asking to like eat my bones, like fantasy. It was one of these nights, these high protocol nights, where he basically tied me up and he was doing knife play. And knife play made me the most uncomfortable out of probably everything that had happened.
So you're tied
And
up.
he
He's
just-
got the knives out. A lot of people do this. It's
What
not my
else?
cup of
What
tea.
else happens? I'm so fascinated to know.
So he just like looks over me and just goes, "Where am I going to put like my initials on you?" And then he like chose a spot and did it. And honestly, like people have asked me, "Oh, what did it feel like?" Or I remember it being very uncomfortable, but I honestly like don't fully remember like how that felt in that moment, what happened, because I think I was in so much pain.
Oh,
And also like your brain tends to like block out trauma and like traumatic experiences. But it just like happened. Like I just remember sitting back and it just like happening because
so Jackie, have you ever
I
through
was
the, like if they bite me on the lip during sex, I always go, "Babe, you bit me on the lip." Like I'm not one of. I can't handle this sort of.
I want to
activity.
ask Paige about the day you went to his mum's house for Thanksgiving, and I read something about how he packed the kind of briefcase of BDSM stuff. So he was fully planning on doing that kind of sexual stuff
at Mum's house.
at Mum's house that night, which you chose not to do. But what exactly was he wanting to do that night?
so he always travels with a like leather little bag, briefcase kind of BDSM stuff. And he brings it on road trips, and we had drove from Los Angeles to Dallas. And
Did you guys have
he
sex on
brought
the
it-
side of the road on that road trip?
I don't think so. No, we didn't. See,
Sorry,
I'm
that was a
down with
side
that
note.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
No,
by me.
I'm down. Like, I'm down with that, like, fun, weird shit. But,
Totally.
like, this is something completely different. And that's why, like, also what I want to make clear is that I'm not kink shaming.
Yeah.
And I think that there is a space in the bedroom, like a safe space for trying these things.
Did he ever give
Right.
you a safe word? Did you guys agree on a safe word?
So before I had protocol nights, he would give me safe words, but and I've said this, like, and this is why I think it's confusing for some people, because ultimately I wasn't saying no, right? So this is where consent gets really complicated.
right.
But I refused to say no because I didn't want to let him down. So this is where it gets tricky, I think, with sex and with BDSM, like, especially as like a woman, like, we all want to be down, right? We all want to be hot and wanted. And I think that when you're in this, like, the heat of the moment, and you want to feel, like you're good enough, I think that it can, like, push us, and men can push us into situations that we wouldn't necessarily want.
And you reckon his mum knew he had these dark demons inside of him?
His mother was speaking to me about how she felt like at times he was like, like stuff with the devil. Like, he felt like he was being, like, taken by, and I don't know much about Christianity, but that, she was concerned about it. So I think that this is definitely not, new information for them. I think that probably the cannibalism stuff and the branding and, the fantasies may have came as a shock.
Do you think that that this is just extreme fetish stuff, fantasy behaviour, or do you think it sort of tilted on the wrong side of what's okay?
Like, does he need help?
Yes.
What an experience you've had. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
And how'd you get out of that?
Like,
What did you say? Did you text him? Did you just never go back again? Did you have a conversation where you're like, listen, it's over? Or
yeah, so I sent him a text beginning of December, and I said, like, I did it over text because I was honestly, like, too scared to do it in person. I was like, I feel really unsafe. I feel sick to my stomach every day. I feel like this just is not right for me, and I'm feeling really weird, and this is just something I need to remove myself from.
jeez. And I bet your next boyfriend was very Christian and like a 4-second late.
I know, no, like, literally, I'm like just trying to find a nice, normal boy
Just give
now.
me a normal bloke, please.
Yeah,
please.
just a normal. Just give me normal.
But he was okay with the breakup, wasn't he? Because I think you text him and he just texts back saying, okay, that's fine, I understand.
He's like, yeah, I understand.
Do you honestly believe that if you had agreed to get your ribs removed, he would have actually done that and eaten them?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
It was my second time ever to Los Angeles. I just got out of a really traumatic breakup. I was 22 years old at the time. I just turned 23 yesterday. And he basically said, I felt like he loved that I was young. I feel like this has been hard. Like, this has been hard for me, but I don't think like the trauma that I'm really going to have isn't going to be to it's going to hit me more in a few months. Like, it still doesn't feel like me. Like, it doesn't feel like, it's hard to come to terms with this kind of
Like,
thing.
you remember that it's happened, but you've sort of disassociated mentally from it.
Yes, exactly. I've disassociated like a lot.
Well, I feel like a really good guy now because I always thought, like, if a girl comes forward that I've ever had sex with, the worst thing she could say was he hardly made and now I feel like some sort of god.
What a gentleman you are, they're going to say,
Yeah,
Kyle.
oh, he's such a gentleman. Don't think you can orgasm that often, but whatever. Look, Paige, thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
It's
thank
fascinating
you. What
to
an
hear the other
eye-opener,
side.
Paige.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for keeping me on. And then this conversation is really important. And I think that if like young women know that they can say no, and that like men like this exist, and like this is a reality in some people's in the bedroom, which is really scary. And if they know that could be that could come up, then they're more equipped to deal with it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
The minute you feel uncomfortable or uneasy,
Yeah, you should definitely be like,
bail out.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Paige.
Paige. Really
Nice to meet
appreciate
you.
the chat.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, hon. Bye.
Thanks, son. Army Hammers X
Wow.
Paige there.